Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Volcano erupts. The big island of Hawaii. Come on in, folks. Come on in. Overnight, the volcano that you see right here has erupted in Hawaii, the big island of Hawaii. Kilauea, Mount Kilauea. And we're going to talk about a little volcanoes and the eruptions and whatnot, because we've been watching this for the last week because they've been saying another volcano might erupt outside of Anchorage, Alaska. But look at just the power of this. Look at the power of this. Look at the power of this, folks. This is pretty crazy here. Come on in, JLR Investigates. We are looking at Mount Kilauea, which is on the Big Island. And they're saying that it has erupted about 1,000 feet into the air on the Big Island of Hawaii. Also, I'm reading that this comes also that they expect another volcano to erupt somewhere off the coast, the Pacific coast, very, very soon. Any day, a giant eruption could happen on the west coast of the United States, off the west coast, any day. Now, this is pretty fascinating to see. I just wanted to stay here, talk a little bit, share what's going on. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Some people say Kilauea. I went to pronunciation. This is what I did when I went to pronunciation for this. Watch this right here. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Where we at?
Kilauea.
Other people are saying in the chat it's pronounced Kilauea. Pronunciation says Kilauea. Volcano in Hawaii. Come on in, folks. Come on in. JLR Investigates. So, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about volcanoes for a bit. Talk about what's going on. This one erupted pretty big overnight. They're saying such eruptions that you're seeing here has not happened in over 65 years in the area. 65 years since the last time it erupted like this. So we're just going to kind of talk a minute. Lava shot 1,000 feet up into the sky. Now imagine if you had a city nearby, like what could happen in Anchorage, Alaska. In Anchorage, Alaska, we actually made a video. They have an imminent volcano ready to erupt in Anchorage. Like literally like imminent. Right outside of Anchorage, Alaska. Terrified experts say U.S. volcano set to erupt will trigger international travel chaos. Mount Spur. That's the one we're paying attention to because a lot of the residents there, they actually had it erupt in the past and it sent a bunch of ash onto the cars and the homes and the yards out there. This goes while we also have I think this is all tied in one way. Ring of Fire, Pacific Ring of Fire, because now they're saying a 7.4 magnitude earthquake shakes Argentina. So that's interesting. Now we have an earthquake. A 7.4 magnitude earthquake shakes Argentina. Tsunami warning issued. I'll see around if I can find some footage of that. But things are starting. This is like the Ring of Fire, all the Pacific, when it comes to earthquakes, volcanoes, different things like this. I think it's all synchronized a little bit. A 7.4 earthquake just happened in Argentina. Shakes Argentina. Let me see if I can find anything on it. Earthquake. We might switch it over to that in a second. But I wanted just to show you this. So we have an earthquake. We have volcanoes. Experts are saying that an underwater volcano might erupt off the Pacific coast any day now. Mount Spur in Alaska erupting any day. Imminent eruption. Let me see if I can find anything on the earthquake in Argentina. That's bad. A 7.4. It's pretty bad. Tsunami threat issued for that area. Look at that. Tsunami threat issued. Wow. Tsunami. Possibly tsunami. Maybe. Terrified experts say U.S. volcano set to erupt will trigger international travel chaos. And we're talking about the one in Alaska. An Alaska volcano could blow up at any time. When it does, it will set off a chain reaction that could cause international chaos. Mount Spur is an 11,000 foot tall mountain that sits about 80 miles from Alaska's most densely populated city, Anchorage, with the home of 300,000 residents. City residents are bracing for a possible eruption, which experts say could happen in a matter of weeks to a month or days. But they won't be the only ones impacted by this explosive event. A massive cloud of ash billowing 50,000 feet in the air would force international hubs such as the Ted Stevens International Airport and potentially Fairbanks International Airport to shut down. Tsunami. Off the coast of Argentina, possibly. We're going to try to get more information about this earthquake that happened in Argentina. Earthquakes, tsunamis, rings of fire. Now, this is pretty cool to see. I wanted to just come on and show. There is another view. I could put on another one, but this one is pretty defined here. Is this for things to come? What do we got? Volcano erupts. Hot lava. Now, what is up with this earthquake? Let me see. Let me see what happened here. Argentina. Don't see anything on it right now. I see people starting to pile in. Come on in, folks. We're going to talk for a little bit. 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck approximately 219 kilometers south of Argentina on Friday. The quake hit at 9:58 a.m. local time. Initial reports, no casualties reported. It looked like all the way at the bottom of Argentina. A tsunami alert issued, telling people to prepare in Argentina and Chile. looked like it happened in an area that wasn't even populated all like that. Earthquakes, tsunamis, eruptions. It's what we got going on, folks. Volcano. Hot lava. So tell me about your volcano experiences. Let's talk. Do you have any? This here is a famous mountain on the Big Island. They say this is the biggest one here in about 65 years. Ash cloud. You can see the ash cloud up in the sky. Still dark out there, though. Many Hawaiians believe this eruption that you see here is guided by Pele, the goddess of volcanoes and fire. According to local legend, Pele, one of his 6 daughters and 7 sons, born to the earth goddess. I can't even pronounce these names. It's basically a folk legend. Pele. Pele. Do we know anything about Pele? Like P-E-L-E. That's what guides these earthquakes, according to Hawaiians, native Hawaiians. All right, so speaking about next week or the week after, here's what the Daily Mail just put out today in an article. It's interesting. This stuff happens, and all this other stuff happens, like earthquakes. Huge underwater volcano off major U.S. coast is set to erupt any day as top scientists issue chilling warning. It says the most active volcano in the Pacific Northwest could erupt any day now, scientists have warned. It's called the Axial Seamount, is a mile-wide underwater volcano that sits 300 miles off the coast of Oregon and more than 4,900 feet below the surface of the Pacific Ocean. It last erupted in 2015, triggering roughly 8,000 earthquakes, producing 400-foot thick lava flows and causing the bottom of the ocean to sink nearly 8 feet. Scientists monitoring this volcano has detected a key sign that is about to erupt: inflation of the seafloor. This swelling indicates that magma is building underneath the surface. Uh-oh. According to William Wilcock, a professor and marine scientist at the University of Washington, the seafloor has already inflated to the level that it reached before the 2015 eruption. They're saying it could erupt any day off the coast of Oregon and Washington. Earthquake, tsunamis, volcanoes. Oh my. Earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanoes. Oh my. Yeah, pretty crazy stuff, folks. It's beautiful to watch, but you know how hot that stuff is. You can't even touch it. You ever watch the movie Dante's Peak? Pretty crazy. Volcano erupts. Here we are in the Big Island of Hawaii. Now I'm going to look a little bit more into this Argentina earthquake. Earthquake. Major earthquake and tsunami. A lot of people affected. Major earthquake and tsunami that hit Argentina this morning. Officials fear a huge tsunami could be headed for Chile after a 7.5 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of Argentina. So we're watching this. If a feed comes up on this damage, we'll switch over. I'm looking to see what we got. But yeah, this is a live shot at the big island of Hawaii. Earthquake, tsunami, volcano. Volcano erupts. It's a beautiful sight to see, though. We don't want to see any crazy damage. For sure. Tsunami threat issued. Boom, look at that. This is coming from the USGS. USGS. They monitor all the activity on our Earth's surfaces. We monitor access map and conduct targeted scientific research so that policymakers and the public have the understanding they need to address complex environmental, natural resource, and public safety issues. Folks coming into the chat, we have a volcano that erupted, sending things into the air 1,000 feet. Plume of smoke, lava shooting out. This is the big island of Hawaii. This comes after numerous other volcano threats across the globe, including the Pacific coastline, that one is about to erupt, imminent eruption, and also Mount Spur in Anchorage, Alaska. Outside of Anchorage, Alaska, residents there are literally buying masks and preparing for an eruption there that could drop a bunch of ash onto Anchorage, Alaska, the most populated city in Alaska with 300,000 residents. They had it before, but this one that could happen any day, they're saying would be much, much worse. Elderly, pets, plants. They even have plants there. You know, the climate there in Anchorage is not too cold. Anchorage, Alaska weather. It's 41 degrees in Anchorage, Alaska. Doesn't get too cold in the winter all like that. It might get 30, average highs 30s like in the dead of winter. Boy, it goes up to the 50s right now. Cool. Not my ideal type of weather. Yeah, they're preparing for a possible volcano eruption in Anchorage. So we have here in Hawaii, Alaska's largest city, closely watching Mount Spur as unrest continues at Volcano. According to the Alaska Volcano Observatory, 55 So someone is in big, big trouble, possibly. This activity here, they're saying, is confined to the Hawai'i Volcanoes National Park. But we're watching it to see. They probably only have one camera there. No one else is around there. That's amazing that they were able to get a camera there, though. For sure. Pretty amazing they were able to do that. I just think it's unbelievable. You know, some people go to like Iceland to see these little volcanoes erupt. This is a big, big deal. I mean, you can't even get anywhere near close to that. That could be I don't know how hot. How hot is a volcano? Let's see. I'm learning as we go. How hot is a volcano? Volcano. Volcanoes can be extremely hot with lava typically ranging from 1,300 to 2,200 degrees Fahrenheit. They're saying just depends on the type of volcano, but they're using Hawaiian volcanoes as saying they reached the top temperature, 2,200 degrees Fahrenheit. People ask the question, is a volcano hotter than the sun? No. Can you touch lava? No. Lava is extremely hot. It will cause severe, you would probably lose your whole hand if you touched it. If you went like that, your finger's gone. I can't imagine just touching that. Nope. Yeah, so 2,200 degrees of lava pouring out. So it is hot. 2,200 degrees, most likely. Between 1,300 and 2,200 degrees. Think about that. That's at least 10 times the hottest temperature ever recorded on Earth. 10 times. I'm surprised all that sits beneath the Earth. Who knows what's beneath the Earth that we don't even know about? Who knows what lurks beneath our Earth surface? Come on in. We're talking about hot volcanoes, earthquakes, and tsunamis. We see if there's any damage done about this Argentina earthquake. Hot rock. Pretty crazy. Hot molten rock. Actually, they got quite a few news networks now that are reporting on this. King 5, Seattle. Dude, I looked at Anchorage, Alaska. They have a lot of homes outside Alaska. Pretty cheap. You could get a nice, decent home pretty cheap in Alaska. Who would want to live in Alaska, though? Who would want to live in Hawaii? Would you want to live in Hawaii? Hawaii? Alaska? I don't know. I think those two locations are pretty remote, hard access to. You're depending on an airline industry. Travels probably cost significantly more. Let's see if we can get some more information about the tsunami warning. Tsunami warning issued for Chile and Argentina. or they'll say it, a tsunami alert. Tsunami alert. Tsunami alert. Earthquake. Tsunami alert. Boom. Look at that. No, it's just cool to see. I mean, you know, this is nature. We hope that there's no damage. This is just nature playing its course here. This is just amazing. Let's see any other volcano news that we can share. LA Bible says, what could happen when a huge underwater volcano erupts? As scientists said, it could be any day now. A number of things could happen when a massive underwater volcano off the coast of the U.S. erupts, which could be any day now, they're saying. Scientists have warned of the impact that could be caused by the sleeping giant known as the Axial Seamount, which is about 300 miles off the coast of Oregon. This is despite the fact that it lies 5,000 feet below the Pacific Ocean's surface. The underwater volcano has the power to change the face of the seafloor if it erupts and spews lava, which it did in 1998, 2011, and 2015. Experts have warned that another eruption is on the way after spotting some inflation on the seafloor, the sign of an imminent eruption, as well as increased seismic activity. There's no set date for this eruption, which experts have said it could be any day now. But what were to happen exactly if the volcano were to erupt? Would anyone on the land be affected? Marine impact. Arguably, the biggest changes we would see would be the water temperature and gas caused by the release of magma and other materials, which would alter the surrounding marine life in its environment, either disrupting or killing certain species. However, some species may actually thrive with the new heat source. Possible earthquakes and tsunamis. As usually found with volcanic eruptions, seismic activity could come with the eruption. It's interesting that this happened here, and then now you have Argentina with an earthquake. Tsunamis is a possibility. If that happened, it could be off the coast of Oregon and California. Impact on humans. It is expected that due to it being so far off any dry land and being over a kilometer underwater, the eruption of the Axial Seamount will have no direct threat to humans. However, submarine cables or research instruments in the surrounding area could be damaged, such as those on the Ocean Observatory's initiative. So that would be if this erupts off the coast of Oregon and California. It's called the Axial Seamount. I learned something new today. So that's the talk about off the coast of the West Coast. So we have multiple issues here. What's this? A zombie volcano hasn't erupted in 250,000 years, but scientists say it is still active. What are they talking about here? One in Bolivia. So there's been quite a few volcano news just in the last few days, dealing with this, dealing off the coast of California, Oregon, dealing with Mount Spur in Alaska, and of course, volcanoes itself, or earthquakes itself. Remember, they had an earthquake in Southern California just a couple weeks ago. It wasn't big, but it did shake things up. Now, this Argentina earthquake, I'm seeing some clips. Did a little shaking in some people's homes. See if we can get. See, there's some clips, but it's in Spanish. So is this related to the Argentina earthquake? It's a great question. It's a great question. Is it related in any way? Epicenter was right off the coast, though. Earthquake in Argentina, folks. Argentina, Chile area. But it happened off the coast. 136 miles to the south of the southern point. But they are warning that a tsunami could come soon with 10 feet. 7.4 magnitude earthquake. Well, isn't that interesting? Crazy. I'm looking here to see if I can. I mean, they have feeds, but it's not in English. Earthquake. People are coming in the chat. Welcome. Hanging out here this morning a little bit. Talk about earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanoes. And this is live right now in the big island of Hawaii. Come on in, JLR investigates. Volcano erupts. I'm gonna switch the feed a little bit in a second to show you a different perspective of this in a different color here. It's more of a red. Stand by. How long does these things go? Look. This is the same one. It's just a different color. But here you can see the flow. It's pretty crazy right there. This is live. This thing that spews out. Isn't that crazy? And we're in Hawaii right now. And you see the time matches and everything like that. It's 4:36 their time. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they're 6 hours behind. They're 6 hours behind. Wow. I'm just watching a little volcano stuff. Pretty intense. I want to learn a little bit more about this Argentina earthquake. Earthquake. The big one. Is the big one coming? I think it's all connected in some way, shape, or form. Underneath the earth, ring of fire. Hawaii. We take you to Hawaii this morning. Boom. So that's what we got, folks. I don't know how long this goes on for. Be interesting to see the other ones if they go. Volcano. It's volcano time. Not many American stations talking about this earthquake in Argentina. Guess as long as it doesn't happen here, no one cares in the United States. I know a lot of people probably have friends and family there, though. This is live, by the way. It's just spewing out. It's like, whoa. But I wanted to give you guys a glimpse of what's going on. We will continue to monitor the situation about these volcanoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, and etc., particularly on the Ring of Fire, the West Coast. I think California could get the big one any day, any minute. Alaska. Be prepared. Everything could shoot off at once. Earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis. Everything starts collapsing. I don't want to be a fear monger here, but I think the big one is coming. The big one is coming. I think the big one is coming. For sure. Yeah, it's interesting to watch for sure. Boom. We'll stay on a bit. I'm just going to stay on a bit. People get to see the power of Mother Nature. Six dangerous volcanoes that could shut down the world. There's one in Italy, they're saying. Campi Flegrei. There's a few in Italy. There's one in the Canary Islands. Mount St. Helens. Mount St. Helens is listed on the list. Last eruption, 1980. Mount St. Helens eruption in May 1980 resulted in 57 deaths and caused the largest landslide in recorded history, said NASA. Hot pressurized magma erupted and an ash plume reaching 80,000 feet blanketed the region. Everything within 230 square miles was destroyed. They say Mount St. Helens is expected to erupt again in our lifetime. There's one in Mexico. And Yellowstone. There's two. They say 6 volcanoes around the world can change the course of history. Mount St. Helens is one of them. They also say the Yellowstone super volcano in Wyoming. That last erupted. How do they even know these dates? 640,000 years ago. How do they even know that? When the Yellowstone caldera or super volcano in Yellowstone National Park erupts again, its effects would be worldwide. The U.S. Geographical Survey said in the U.S., the closest states to Yellowstone, including Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming, could be affected by destructive flows, which are a mix of lava blocks, ash, and volcanic gas that flows around a volcano after an eruption. Much of the rest of the country could be blanketed in falling volcanic ash, and in some places it could be more than 3 feet deep. They're talking about Wyoming. If this thing erupts in Wyoming, maybe all the U.S. cities on the East Coast would get affected. See, I personally think this is something that, we don't think. We always think about bad things that happen, like tornadoes and hurricanes and stuff we see. But I think in the back of our mind, we don't really necessarily think about volcanoes erupting. And if one erupts, a big one on U.S. soil, it could literally affect everybody. I mean, who knows what type of eruption. Well, we could talk about ash that coming down 3 feet of ash on everything. We don't talk about the meteorite or some sort of crater or something that plows into the earth. What would happen then? Are we prepared? Are we prepared for that scenario? So Yellowstone supervolcano said that it could affect areas all around the United States. You know, you get that plume of ash that goes 80,000 feet up. Jet stream carries that thing. The thing could go towards the East Coast and just dump down. Who knows if it has cancer, cancerous things in it, diseases that could cause respiratory issues, stuff inside you. Now imagine that scenario, but also imagine a scenario where volcanoes start erupting everywhere at once. Some end of the world, end of the times type things on our Earth. Imagine if we have volcanoes start erupting and the Earth starts shaking all over the place. Some people said we'd be long dead by now if that happens. Is humans the cause of this? Or is this just natural? Humans cause this? What do you think? Ice Age, take us back to the Ice Age. Who's ready to go back to the Ice Age? I ain't trying to go back to the Ice Age. See, my fear as a Floridian is hurricanes. That's the only thing I fear. And I'm pretty close to the coast. We haven't had a direct hit hurricane in over 50 years. We've had surges in the last couple of years that really affected the coastline, Florida, even though these storms went up into the panhandle. But hurricanes is my issue. I don't know what your issue is wherever you're at. I think the number one issue for me in tornadoes is up there too. They get a lot of tornadoes, but they don't necessarily get tornadoes on the coastline all like that are significant and crazy, though they do come. I don't think Florida would get a tsunami. But my elevation, I think I'm only like 7 feet above sea level. I mean, some tsunamis have a wall of water that goes 30 feet. How far inland would it go? What happens if a meteorite hits inside the Gulf of Mexico and lands, expands out? I mean, some things to really consider here. Definitely something to consider because you just never know. It's a good shot to see here, though. But be affected by it. I mean, are we all prepared in our world for that natural disaster, the big one, the big one, not just affecting one community, but affecting the entire nation? What about a nuclear bomb? Nuclear. Something that affects everybody. Nuclear. Earthquake. You know, when we were seeing the earthquakes in California, we kept hearing from emergency officials saying, have a week of supplies. Batteries and everything like that. A week of supplies. Have a week of supplies because you might be on your own. Got generators, solar panels. What do you got? Got lots of water. Everybody prepared. volcanoes, eruptions. Now, I'm a little bit interested in this underwater volcano. Underwater volcano. Never know what could happen here. Boom. Eruption. Everything erupts. Dangerous eruption. This is on the Big Island. So this is one of the big islands here. Really, where there's not really any homes nearby here. It's on the southeast corner of the Big Island. Volcano erupts. Boom! What happens if you're going down the road and you see all this lava coming and you're not warned or prepared? Some of the times I've seen it go across roads and people get stuck. Don't touch it. Don't touch it at all. Boom, still erupting. All right, I'm going to show you a clip here about this underwater volcano ready to erupt, possibly.
Volcanic eruption that could happen by the end of the year.
This is the best studied underwater volcano in the world right now. And every time we go through this volcanic cycle, we're learning things new.
Debbie Kelly, a University of Washington oceanography professor, has been studying the Axial Seamount for years. It's a massive underwater volcano about 300 miles off the Oregon coast and nearly 4,900 feet below the ocean.
This is the channelway.
Scientists at UW's Cabled Array, one of the largest ocean observatories in the world monitoring this active volcano, have seen potential eruption signs the last few months. An increase in earthquakes beneath the seafloor, and the volcano inflating due to buildup of magma. Do people need to worry about this eruption?
No, we get asked that a lot. These volcanoes, no, people will not, if we didn't have the ray out there, people would not know that it was going to erupt or that it was erupting.
It's unlikely for the underwater eruption to trigger a tsunami, a major earthquake, or cause extensive damage like land volcanoes could.
One, they don't have a mile of water sitting on top of them, which is, dampens it. But they also don't have as much gases, and the magma compositions are different. So all of those things make it that they're not a very explosive eruption.
Especially not as explosive like the last notable eruption in Washington.
1980, I remember very well Mount St. Helens. I was jumping up and down.
It's a moment that resonates with many throughout the Pacific Northwest.
I never thought in my lifetime I would see anything like that. I mean, it was devastating, and there's that part of it, but there's one of those extreme events on the planet where you're like, oh my God.
Axial Seamount has erupted 3 times, 1998, 2011, and in 2015. Scientists don't have an exact date when it could erupt next, but Kelly will let us know when it does.
Oh, for sure, we'll let you know. You could wait a lifetime and never see one of these things, especially when it's underwater. And so the opportunity to witness things that almost nobody in the world's ever seen before it's a big discovery, right?
For Environment Northwest, I'm Brady Wakayama.
So that was dealing with the coast of Oregon, Washington State. So we'll definitely keep monitoring that situation there. They think that one's the next to erupt. Will we see more volcano eruptions in this West Coast area? Remains to be seen. But what a beauty. At the very least, this thing looks cool at nighttime when it's spewing out crazy lava. Seems like it's definitely high up in the air. It's just amazing that the Earth does this. It's like, whoa. We'll continue to monitor for sure on JLR Investigates. But I don't see much on this Argentina earthquake. .4 magnitude. I don't see any clips on a tsunami, so I don't think they'd have a tsunami. Let me see something. Yeah, there's some reports on the tsunami. However, it's not in English, so it's harder to see some of these networks to understand. So we're not gonna switch it to them. But yeah, they had an earthquake down there in Argentina off the coast, 7.4. There is a tsunami alert for Chile and Argentina. So I'll leave it at that. But hopefully you got to see a cool sight this morning, this volcano. We'll continue to monitor the situation. We got other things we're going to talk about, so I'll be back in a bit. JLR investigates. Thanks for spending time watching this morning. We talked a little bit about earthquakes and tsunamis. And are you prepared for the big one? Whew. All right, folks. Signing off. JLR investigates. Be back in a bit. We'll talk soon. Thanks for watching.